Hello, this is Capri Cruz, author of From Foster Care to Fabulous and Imperative Movement. Thank you for joining me again this week. I'm so excited that we're doing this video interactive discussion, a question and answer forum for foster youth. This week I'll be answering a question that was submitted last week by a foster youth about their career goals. Before I get into that, I just want to say that the primary reason that we're doing this is that there's so much negative publicity about foster children, who foster children are, what their experiences are, what their future ends up becoming. And me and my partners, we have decided amongst ourselves from our own experiences that there's so many wonderful things, so many success stories out there, so many celebrities out there that used to be foster youth that have not been exposed. Information, data, networks, all kinds of information that has not been exposed yet. And we want to bring that to light. And that's what we're doing here. So in addition to answering the questions that are submitted by foster children, foster alumni, foster parents, and regular citizens that just have questions for foster children that may be able to help them in their transition from foster care to adulthood, in addition to all that, we just want to spread like a positive light on the fact that people like me and my partners, we used to be foster children. And today we are successful authors, we are business people, we are PhD scholars, some of us are doctors, business owners, multimillionaires, celebrities. There's so many positive images of former foster youth. And so that really is where we are coming from our heart and why we're doing what we're doing. So in an attempt to help that, we are answering the questions, like I said previously, from anybody and everybody who wants to submit it here on the website. And so this week's question comes from a young lady. She has asked, how do I decide what my career goals should be before I graduate high school? And that is, as anyone knows, a very important question, because how do we decide what path we're going to take out of high school? That question is the primary question that we should be asking as individuals. But I really want to talk about the foster child. I want people to get into the mind of the foster child. See, the foster child does not come from your traditional family household. Whereas many traditional family households may have these questions at the dinner table. These questions may be prompted to your ordinary child, your normalized child, a child that grows up with their biological parent or parents throughout the year. You know, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? What do you see yourself doing? But the foster child, many of them, do not have that loving, caring, interested parent. The parent that may not have the best interest of the child at heart. Many foster children grow up in group homes where there's 6, 7, 8, sometimes more children that live in a home that has a staff member that's not really a mother, she's just a staff member. The staff member ensures that the children are all in the home at a particular time, they eat at a particular time, possibly that they take a bath at a particular time. But that staff member in group homes is not interactive with each and every child in a parental role. The best interest of the future of the foster child is not being explored. So with that in mind, I just want everybody to understand that the foster child comes from a different platform than your normalized child that comes from a biological family. So for a foster child to ask me, how do I decide what career goals should I be considering before I graduate high school? It takes me back to remembering when I graduated high school and what I was kind of going through, what I was experiencing. So first I'll say that, when I was growing up, when I was 10 years old, I had a social worker who was my therapist, and immediately I knew that I wanted to be a therapist when I grew up because her office provided a security for me. I felt safe with her. I was able to talk with her. I could express things with her that I could not do with my foster parents. I didn't have that relationship with people where I felt safe with them. So immediately and innately, I knew I wanted to be a therapist. Cognitively, mentally, it didn't click. I didn't get that part. But in my heart, I knew this is where I wanted to be. Later on, throughout high school, I had a creative writing teacher tell me that I had talent as a writer. And I can recall that one compliment stayed with me. But I didn't pay it a whole lot of attention. I just heard it, my spirit grasped it, and it kind of stayed with me, in my heart or in my spirit. But I didn't really pay a whole lot of mind to it because as a foster child, what happens to us is we're so preoccupied with all these other things in life. Where am I going to live next week? I don't have any clothes. My parents, where are they? Do they love me? I'm being abused. How do I find safety? All kinds of things that the normalized child that lives with their biological parents don't have to think about. So while the normalized child may have a better opportunity to focus on what types of things they should be doing for their future, the foster child, even though they question the same thing, they may not spend as much time really focused on figuring out the answer because they're worried about today's survival. There are many, many foster children that their life is in jeopardy at this moment. They don't have time to be pondering what should my career goals be, even though it may be in the back of their mind. How am I going to be happy? What should I do? Where should I go? Or more accurately, the questions that they may ask before they ask what career goals. Career goals is very precise. So for me, it took me 17 years after I was in the military and all that. Actually, probably around my 6th or 7th year mark, I was in college. I knew that I wanted to go to school for mental health therapy, and today I'm a mental health therapist. But I did not know as a foster child to pay attention to the inner tuggings of my spirit. So my first answer for this person who says, how do I decide what career goals should I focus on before I graduate? My first answer is this: spend time, quiet time with your spirit. Today I know that to mean meditation, prayer, quiet time, journaling, even conversations with your friends. What do you and your friends talk about? Pay attention. Pay attention to what you are expressing to people. If you write poetry, if you're a writer, if you journal, if you're writing a book, many foster children do that because that is the only way they're able to express their emotions. They don't really have parents or brothers and sisters to really talk about these things with. So my first answer is to search your spirit, because your spirit above all things knows who you are and what you were created to become. It's all these other things in life that preoccupy us and distract us from our natural calling. So the second answer I would say is to seek out assistance. What I've learned as I've grown up, as you all know, I'm a foster care alumni, and I spent 20 years in the military. The greatest thing that I recognize today that has helped me, that I didn't understand as it was happening over the years, is that I had many, many mentors. In the Navy, I had many chiefs, I had many supervisors, people that led by example, people that were reaching their own personal goals that I wasn't paying attention to. But now that I'm older, I can look back and say, I can see why I do what I do today. Certain aspects of my leadership, how I carry myself, the things that are important to me. Those things were instilled in me by these very important people who were my supervisors throughout my life. So as I became more aware, in reflection, I saw my mentors as they existed in my life. But now that I'm older and I'm actively seeking mentors, I'm able to pick the people that most resemble what my spirit reflects. So in that, one of my primary mentors is Jennifer Lopez. I remember Jennifer Lopez really just from her interviews in print, and then later on, you know, her music videos and all that. But for the most part of my upbringing, I was not allowed to watch TV. I was locked in my home with no electricity and no television and things of that nature. So I didn't get to see her in her younger years. But in her 30s and 40s, I was exposed to her in print, and she said something that really captured my heart. She said, "Excellence is what drove me. I always just wanted to be excellent at whatever I did." And so because she's from New York, where I'm from, and because she rode, you know, her first album was On the Six, and I used to take the train and 2 buses to go to high school in New York. And so a lot of what she experienced, I experienced just by being a New Yorker. I resonated with her. She was someone I could relate to. And so by that, I owned her, or I captured her, or I claimed her as a mentor. You know, I don't know the woman, but she became a mentor. Like Wendy Williams said, she's a friend in my head. So she became my mentor. And so I began to study her work ethic and things of that nature, because she is, you know, Forbes named her the #1 most powerful celebrity in the world. So who else would you want to be your mentor than the most powerful celebrity in the world, right? Especially if you can resonate with them. So my second answer to you is find a mentor. It doesn't have to be somebody you know. Some of my other mentors are Jim Rohn. He's passed away a couple years ago. Tony Robbins. He's phenomenally psychologically intelligent. And there's been others, but you know, as you go along and you start researching the career field that you want to get in, whether it's fashion or business or whatever you want to do, there are people that stand out in those career fields that you should take note of, and research their history, research where they're from, and how they've learned to do whatever it is that they've learned to do. The third thing that I would suggest in answering the question of how do I decide what career goals should I be focused on before graduating high school is to understand that most people have several careers throughout their lifetime. So where you decide to go today may not be the place that you end up 20 years from now. So kind of just break it down into little bits and pieces. Focus on today. What are you interested in? What makes your heart skip a beat? Where is your passion? See, passion ignites enthusiasm. And when you are enthusiastic about your career, you will not be like the masses that wake up and they're like, "Oh my God, it's Monday. I hate Mondays. I gotta go to work." No, you'll be like, "It's Monday. I got things to do. I got ideas I want to bring to fruition. I have concepts. I have business. You get really excited. Now that I'm an author and a public speaker and I'm doing all these things for foster youth, and I'm really trying to bring a positive light on what we can become as foster alumni, I'm super excited. There isn't a day that I wake up that I'm like, "Oh, God, I got to get out of bed." That doesn't happen in my life. I'm so excited. I'm working on my PhD. I stay up to 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes, doing my paperwork, whatever it is that I got to do, because I'm motivated, I'm excited, I'm enthusiastic. Those are the things that create the passion in somebody to go out and to stay up late hours and to fight for what they want in life. You know, advocates and speakers and people that care about the cause that they're fighting for. If your cause is just being an entrepreneur you make cakes. Maybe you want to make cakes, but you're really excited because you feel like that you have the best cake that's ever been made. You want people to taste that cake. You want to get out there. You want to own a business. You want to get people to know about it. You want to give out free samples. You want to advertise. There is a no-end list of things you can do to promote your business. And so for your career goals, when you start thinking on that kind of level, it's like a snowball. You just kind of snowball it out. And one thing leads to another thing, leads to another thing. But the primary thing to understand, to kind of calm it all down, is that life is a journey. And it's all about personal growth, you know. I started out as a cashier at Rite Aid. That was my first job in Mechanicsville, Virginia. And I loved that job. I had no clue that I was going to be an author and all this kind of thing. I just loved being a cashier at Rite Aid because I loved the sales that they had on makeup. I was a 17-year-old kid and I was really into that. And so I was the best cashier that Rite Aid had ever seen. And that is the key to being happy with whatever career goal you choose. Because where you start is not indicative of where you end. And that's what's most important to understand. It's a growth process. You don't have to conquer the mountain today. It's just a pebble. Where do I start? So, having said that, I just want to thank you all for, your questions, and I look forward to answering more of them. And God bless you, Everybody that's out there that is a foster child, I just want to say love yourself. That is the key thing. In my book, From Foster Care to Fabulous, an Imperative Movement, that is the first chapter that's on the self-help template. Learn to love yourself. Because when you learn to love yourself, you can show up better. You can show up smartly. You can show up more enthusiastically. You're not depressed. You're not scared. You're not intimidated. You love yourself. You have something to offer. And so you will seek your career goals full force. Okay? Thank you very much. See you guys next week.